Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force. In a minute. First I talk about Patreon, then I draw Blood Force. Hello friends, welcome to Blood Force. So this is Blood Force. Blood Force is a comic book that I write and draw. It is both a celebration and a parody of 90s extreme comics, and it is full of crazy stuff like this, and the action is only getting better with every page. And in order to read Blood Force, all you have to do is open the description below, click the link, go to my Patreon, and subscribe there. By subscribing on my Patreon, not only do you get access to the Blood Force comic, all of it in its entirety, you also get access to every video that I make before I post it to YouTube, usually about a week or two in advance, as well as the pre-Blood Force stuff. So we're talking about the sketches I made coming up with Blood Force, as well as a couple of projects I worked on before I did Blood Force. All this for just $3 American. You cannot get Arm Blades and Vengeance for a better price. So subscribe today, let's get Blood Force out on those shelves, and let's give the world the comics it deserves. Okay, so we are back now with Blood Force Issue 2, page 17. Is that correct? That seems about right. Yeah. No, we are trucking along. So this is kind of where the pages start to get particularly fun, I would say. We've had some moments up till now. I mean, the Popo pages are pretty good. And, some of them might even be better than this one. Or a couple of these ones coming up. But overall, this is going to be one big long fight scene. And this is the lead-in. So we're going to get some posing. We're going to get some dialogue that looks like it shouldn't be shouted, but the dudes will be shouting in the picture. That's all good. And I had some trouble with this leg. It's a tough pose, kinda. Like to just, I don't know. I feel like you need some kind of structure to really get. Oh, there we go. I think. Yeah, you really got to just kind of fling that leg all around there. And then just like, wait, I think this might be right. Hang on. Yeah, that seems pretty good. So this is the new villain for this issue. This is Cyberzerk, which is a pretty good name, I think. And a little, it's not awkward, but I don't know. There's a slight bit of goofiness to it. And, Jesus, we got planes going over. All right. And it can very easily be shortened to Cyberjerk. Or, maybe not shortened, but, And I believe it will be over the course of the fight. And then, yeah, big close-up of Hawkstab screaming. That's the biggest head I've drawn, maybe at period. So that's going to be fun. We're going to have to try and fill that up with some lines. Make him look super fucking old. I think that'll be all right. And then we need something up here. Do a guy and some hands. Is that a good hand? It's a pretty good hand. Okay, that's enough pencils on that one. Let's go ahead and pencil this guy some more. It's not a bad idea. I mean, I tend not to pencil too much. Really more just as I don't know. It seems kind of pointless to do too much penciling if you're your own inker. It's like, I just drew this. Why am I drawing this again? But you can solve a few of your problems in advance, of course, if you do actually do some tight pencils beforehand. Not, they're not going to be finished pencils. They'll never be like that. Like what I see from professional pencilers, where like everything is fucking shaded in, and like it's all clean lines. Because this is like rough outline shit for professional pencilers, right? And this is like my finished pencils. Yeah, and that was kind of the inspiration there. You might have seen it briefly. For this particular pose was War Cry from Brigade Number 0, who always seemed like a very superfluous kind of character. I have no idea how much he showed up later on. I think he's classified as a more of a Wildcats villain, actually. But, yeah. The thing I always loved the most about him was that the logo for his name was ineligible. Ineligible? Illegible. Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah. So I mean, prepare to feel the wrath of. I did kind of want to have somebody comment on that, and like in this, but it would have meant having to do some illegible, you know, lettering for the guy's name. And I want people to see the cool name I came up with. And so far, that head looks pretty good, although the eyes are a bit weird. Now, let's do a bit of lettering. Not too much here, and there'll be quite a bit less going forward, too. So that'll be all right. And of course, these guys are still going to talk like idiots to each other. So what I think Cyberzerk's first line is, "We're not pawns in your intergalactic game of Twister," which is a very Garth Ennis kind of line when he's making fun of superheroes. And then Hawkstab responds with, "I don't know who you are, but if you want to get through us, you'll have to get through us." Or you'll have to go through us. There we go. It's right there. Which is a line I'm rather pleased with. It's quite silly. Would have been nice if I'd thought of this before. Oh well. Will I think of it next time? Probably not. And now we have to try and white out a bit of the edges to try and meet. Yeah, those borders. Yeah, you can't leave that C the way it is. It's just how it is. Yeah. The lettering isn't. It just isn't my strong suit. I wish I could do it okay. It's not great. It looks like here it looks okay, and after I thicken it up a little bit, it'll look a little bit better. And that's as good as it's going to get, really. Oh, where'd you go? There you go. I have no idea what I'm doing here. This was done on a live stream, so I might be chatting a little bit. And Hawkstab's getting... Oh, yeah. We've got to talk about Bloodpool, which is a very busy-looking comic. But, yeah, as I said on the live stream, that was one of those ones that I used as research when I was trying to come up with a script for Blood Force #1. Because I'm like, how do you come up with a team #1? Oh, get that brush going. It's good stuff. Outlines on these ended up looking quite good. But yeah, no, I bought a whole bunch of #1s when I first decided to put a script together for Blood Force. And not just #1s, but team #1s. So we're talking, what was that one? That was Bloodpool. We're talking Dooms 4. We're talking New Men, The Pact, Berserkers. I'm trying to think what else. Didn't get Freak Force for some reason. Maybe because they'd already been introduced, kind of. I'm not for sure. Should have got Freak Force. That was dumb. Why didn't I do that? Got Codename Strike Force. There's a few that I ended up getting. And after reading those, I concluded it really doesn't matter. come up with whatever stupid shit you want, particularly after reading Bloodpool. Because the story for Bloodpool, the premise isn't bad. The premise is that they're Youngblood rejects. They've gone through the Youngblood training program. They've all got superpowers, and they've been told by the government, yeah, you don't make the cut. And there is a bit of a precedent for those kind of characters turning into villains from Shadowhawk. I don't know which one it was, and I don't remember his name anymore. From Shadowhawk, I want to say number 2. But one of Vendetta's club of superheroes or supervillains is a Youngblood reject. So, that's the expected, I think, response for anybody who drops out. There we go. We're going to fix those eyes. Actually, all of a sudden, this looks kind of badass. So, they get kicked out of Youngblood, and when they're leaving, Shaft helps them steal some obsolete Youngblood tech. So, they've got, they can set their own mission. They can go and get themselves set up in a base somewhere and figure out what they want to do. And while they're on their way somewhere, I don't remember exactly where, they literally hit a limo that is in the middle, where the owner of the limo is in the middle of being kidnapped. And they beat up the kidnappers. And then the owner of the limo, who's some rich billionaire guy, goes, yo, I need a security team / strike force. How about working for me? And they go, okay, we've got all this Youngblood tech. And then that's it. And that's pretty fucking stupid. So, yeah. When I decided to come up with my team thing, basically decided on a generic premise. So there's aliens, and they're trying, and there's like an alien nation kind of thing where they're trying to settle on Earth, but they're being pursued by an evil alien race. And the delegate for the negotiating aliens has been appointed a security team / strike force, because those are always useful, by the Earth government, and that team is Blood Force. Right? I mean, it's pretty standard, it's pretty generic, but it's the kind of thing you can use as a launch pad into all sorts of storylines. And I mean, you can adapt it on the way. Yeah, fill in that hatching. That's good stuff. Yeah, all this stuff ended up looking great. I'd say the only thing that's a bit weird about him, apart from his cheek being, making him look, his cheek looks a little bit sunken, actually. I don't mind it because it looks super intense, but, it's okay. And then his head looks a little bulbous here in the back. I think it doesn't matter too much. Oh, yeah, I lost track of what I was inking there. Yeah, nobody's really paying attention to that. You're just looking at the face. It's just something that I'm looking at, and I'm going, man, it would have been nice to get that right, but oh well. Now we're going to do some neck stretchies. That was going to look pretty good. Imagine spending hours just throwing on texture lines on a face. And I did that shit, like a week ago. And then some more neck stretchies, but tendons on whatever muscle that is on your neck. And that is one thing. It was kind of recommended that the Cyberzerk pose maybe should be from a worm's eye view, which I understand the thinking of because it does make him look stronger. I do worm's eye view a lot though, and I kind of wanted a shot where you saw the whole character all at once, which can be a little tougher from worm's eye view. And I haven't done this particular pose in the comic yet, I don't think. Not really. And it's a pretty standard pose. And then once I got it penciled out, I'm like, that pose looks pretty badass. So I decided to keep it. I do understand where he's coming from, though. And there's going to be a lot of worm's eye view in the fight that comes directly after this. I am thinking about that fight quite a bit. I'm kind of plotting it out now. And we're going to see if we can make that fight look kind of badass. So definitely, if this is your, if you haven't been to a live stream yet, I think over the next month or so, you might want to check one out because we're going to be doing some awesome looking shit. And if we're a few into it and you can't see, you haven't seen those pages yet, what you do is you open the description on this video and you go to my Patreon. Gotta love the shilling, And you subscribe there, and that's where all of my Blood Force pages end up, as well as all the process stuff. So, for instance, on the upcoming fight, I threw in some thumbnails. There's some initial pencils that I'm going to actually have to erase because I realized that the wrong dude was getting kicked in the face. You can't have that. So, yeah, all sorts of extra shit there you want to go check out. In the meantime, we're inking Cyberzerk now, which is good stuff. Just big muscle dude. Well, one of the leaner muscle dudes, I suppose, but in a good superpowered person pose. Have I thickened up the lettering there yet? I think I must have, but it doesn't look like it. And I added a bit of stuff onto his costume here, improvisationally, that I think ended up... Oh, shit. I think I was checking to see if because this is a new camera, I'm checking to see how the light works with it. And I think we found out, way too fucking bright. Sorry about that. But yeah, there's a few aspects of these costume here that... because he was actually a little plain heading into this. And then, so I just added on some extra shit. So he had, the rivets there on his chest. I'm like, how about we put a few on his arms? And a couple on his legs, too. And it'll look like a Centurion from the old toy line from, 88. And we'll put, a Doom Patrol, arrow on his chest here. Put some extra obliques on his, metal obliques. Put a pointless design on his gauntlets. I think the shin guard things there, those were there originally. And I hadn't I hadn't drawn a picture with the hair. Oh, no, wait, I had drawn one, but I didn't like how it ended up, really. And it was kind of sloppy. So this was the first, good drawing with the hair. And I think it turned out rather nicely. We're going for, metal dreads, which I'm pretty sure, I thought, man, that's badass. Nobody's ever done metal dreads before. For one thing, I'm sure they have. For another thing, thinking about it, I can remember Eric Larson having designed a character with metal dreads. I think it was Powerhouse out of Spider-Man number 15. I read that a few months ago, and I somehow still remember that. That was the issue where... this is the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man. that series anyway. Todd's not working on that issue, but this is the one where Spider-Man's worried about having kids, about producing a mutant child because he's irradiated. And it's like, that's an interesting idea, actually. And he goes and talks to Beast about it. And then, Powerhouse is a character with, I believe, metal dreads, who they have to fight because it's an Eric Larson comic. You're not going to get by without a fight. Which is correct. That's how you're supposed to do it. But so far, these shapes, pretty good. And of course, make it all coils. And this is just mind-numbing to draw, but it's not going to go on forever. And it's going to look, if you don't slack on it, where you just start letting the lines look like shit, or just like whatever, just basically hatching. No, you do it right, and it's going to actually look kind of awesome when it's done. And then you put a shiny on every single one, which is extra. But again, it's going to make everything look awesome. So just do it. I think my hand was cramping up after this. But that's some proper looking metal hair. Some metal dreads. And it's tough to keep yourself from to keep myself from going, okay, I'm 80% through these. Time to just dash off some lines for the remainder. Spear's okay. Doesn't look too off center. And Kirby Crackle around the outside. Looks pretty good. And then this is a robe. Because the joke was, there's always a joke. It's not always successful, but there's always a joke. And when he first gets their attention, it's a dude in a Jedi cloak. Because, if you're going to stalk some alien diplomats at a protest and you want to not be noticed, you show up in a Jedi cloak. Which seems funny to me. It might be too dumb, but so he throws off the cloak here, but it doesn't really look like anything. So this is one of those things where if it gets colored eventually, just make sure the color is exactly the same on this cloak in this panel as it was in the previous one. And then I did this smaller border, which I'm not sure was the right way to go. And then hatched the shit out of it. So I kind of wanted him standing alone, but I didn't want no background. But I think this is still not ideal. That Hawkstab panel's done. So now we get to do this panel here, which should be extremely quick, and which still took me a few days because I didn't want to do it. Why? Because there's a crowd behind him here. If I'd been able to get away with making him blank here, like him, fist, and then nothing behind him, I think I could have finished that in all at the same time I finished the Cyberzerk panel there. Gonna have to have some light here. And we're gonna put a little extra detail on Hawkstab's blades, which I like. They end up looking a little nicer than usual. That's not great. So we're going to try it like this. And and then put some shinies on it. That looks all right. And I think I put a couple extra ones on there too. And it actually ends up looking fairly decent. The big hatches at the bottom there, I'm not a fan of, but overall pretty good. And thick outline on the fist here, and that line just ends up looking so rough. I don't know. It probably would have been better just getting like a thick marker. I have to clean it up manually here. And then I decided to silhouette these hands, which I don't think was the right decision. It's okay now, because I mean, like, the hands aren't even really the focus of the drawing. But it does feel like it ended up being kind of, I don't know. It feels like it ended up being kind of lazy. And that hand isn't shadowed correctly. I'm not sure exactly how it should go, but I kind of, like, this is one of those things I just kind of want off this page now, I think. This one looks pretty good, and that was kind of a improvised hand there from that angle. It didn't end up looking too bad. And then, yeah, here's the Jedi cloak. Pretty good. I probably should have looked at some, like, Spawn references or something. But, I don't think it ended up looking too bad, really. And put a little extra hatching in there. And you get the the camera lens or whatever it is. I don't know. I think I imagined that originally as a camera lens, but it could be a jewel or who knows. It's just kind of, it's basically like the thing on Hawkstaff's shoulder, where it's like, I don't know what that is. And thinking about it, that'd be kind of funny if that thing was a camera lens. Like, General Rancor didn't trust him in the field, so he's always got, you know, like some monitoring shit on him that he doesn't know about. Maybe. We'll see. So the way I decided to do this crowd, because I wanted to separate them from Cyberzerk here. So I did them with a really thin marker, like an 003. And then did some just vertical hatching, which, when I was done it, I wasn't happy with how it looked. It looks, again, too lazy. But, like on here, I don't think this ends up turning out too bad. So, like, next time, I may not do it again. Not exactly like this, but maybe close. This almost looks like manga-y. And then just some random shapes in the background that kind of look like limbs or whatever. Yeah, so that's the final product there. Pretty good page, really. Yeah, that stuff at the top there, those blades do end up looking kind of nice. But, and the guys, you know, it is a little tossed off, but I don't think it looks too bad, to be honest. And I did get the effect I was looking for, where they got separated from Cyberzerk. He's a, like, you know, it almost looks like a color hold. So that's all right. And then these other two panels are freaking awesome. So, like, you know, I'm not going to complain about that. So overall, like, I don't know, like 85% success on this page. That's pretty good. I'll take that. All right. So next one, we're getting straight to the fight. And it should be like 5-6 pages at least, I think. So definitely you want to show up for that one. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications. You can go over and follow me on Twitter. More importantly, you can go over to my Patreon. Link is in the description. And you can subscribe there, and that'll give you access to all of these Blood Force pages. It'll also give you access to all of my videos before I put them up on YouTube, usually a week or two in advance, and also the process stuff and any sort of Patreon exclusives I decide to put together. There have been a few now. But thanks very much for watching this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.